What's going on, guys? It's Michael here with another video today, talking to you specifically about a different topic, and that is how you do one thing is how you do everything. And that's just kind of a more or less philosophy that I've lived by for the last several years, at least with myself. And I found it to be a really useful way of living. Now, what do I mean by that exactly? So, how you do one thing is how you do everything. The way you approach tasks in your life, the way you approach problems, even the way that you practice your own hobbies, I would argue, is how you more or less are going to extrapolate and approach the same. You're going to use the same kind of energy. You're going to use the same kind of direction, the same sort of strategy when you apply that to everything else in your life. Now, the closest to home example I can make to you is that when I started getting into fitness and taking care of my health, I began to notice that the rippling effects of that into my extended life. Now, what do I mean by the rippling effects? I mean that when it came down to doing anything else, right? When it came down to studying in med school, when it came down to relationships with other people, how reliable I could be, how much someone could take my word and trust it. If I go back in time, it all comes back to how I did the one thing. When I dedicated myself to exercising, taking care of my health, doing things despite the fact I didn't want to do it, that actually translated into me keeping my word with people. Sometimes I made an agreement that maybe I didn't feel like taking part of afterwards, after some time. And however, I still did it. Why did I do that? Because I learned that I had to keep my word to myself when it came to exercising, when it came to taking care of my health. And I started to implement that into everything else in my life. Now, at the same time, what else did that extrapolate to? When it came down to studying, there was moments I didn't really want to study at all, but I still got myself up and I did it anyways. And the reason I did that, I would say I give credit to, is because I learned the habit of that discipline through exercise and taking care of my health. I think it's very important that the way you do one thing in your life is the way that you do everything. If you're going to if you're going to try 50% on one thing in your life, let's say you're like, you know what, man, I'm going to diet a little bit throughout the week, just a little bit. And on the weekends, you just binge out. You tell yourself you're not going to, but you do it anyways. You're going to start realizing, and I honestly would bet you guys, if you really sit down and you evaluate yourself and you say, wow, like, I don't keep promises to myself about little things. Maybe you don't keep your promises with other people. Maybe at work, when you have tasks to do, you don't get them done on time. You put them off, you procrastinate. Why? Because again, the way you're doing one thing is the way you're doing everything. So if you can really master one thing, if you can really devote and discipline yourself to one thing, you will be able to do that in every other avenue of your life. You will be able to implement that to every other avenue of your life. And in turn, what's going to happen is that now your ROI, which stands for return of investment, becomes greater because you become almost the base program for everything else in your life. So you have the base is discipline, the base is keeping your word, the base is trying your 100% at one thing. You're going to start putting in that same amount of energy. You're going to start putting in that same amount of effort into everything else. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video today. I just wanted to go over that specific concept, that specific way of living that really has benefited me in terms of mindset. And I hope it could be something useful for you guys, something to reflect about, something to think about. And I hope you guys stay tuned for the next video. I am really enjoying these kinds of video topics, and hopefully we can get better together. But for me, it's really important that I give back to you guys because I've seen the results of specific ways of thinking. And it's not like I came up with them. I also learned them from others. But I think it's right that I share with you guys my experiences and things that just benefited me overall. So that's it for the Modern Mindset today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe if you'd like to. If you don't, It's all good. I hope you could have gained something out of this video. But anyways, have a great day and take care of yourselves.